We are live.
Hey everybody, welcome to another evening with Broadcast Team Alpha, the weekly show. We are Broadcast Team Alpha, bringing you cutting-edge conversation while exploring the quantum possibilities. And on Wednesday nights, it's a casual night, so we invite you to join into the conversation on our YouTube channel and the live chat. And we invite you to connect with us on our website, Broadcast Team Alpha, or subscribe to our YouTube channel. So easy for me to say. So we're looking to break 2,000 subscriptions. So please and thank you. Tonight we are going to be talking about the purpose. It could be your purpose, the purpose, what's the purpose, whatever you guys want to talk about. And as always, Aage and Tom and myself, we're each going to have 3 different point of views, as is for each individual who watches this, whether live tonight or on the replay. You too will have your individual point of view. So there is no right, there is no wrong. We're just going to have fun. And I am graced again with my co-host Tom and Aage. Hey guys.
Hey.
Howdy, howdy, howdy. Hey, sorry about that. We had a little bit of feedback coming through.
What?
That's been fixed. Sorry about that. It was just a last minute glitch. So anyway.
Well, that's okay. It was better than last week.
Yeah, that was really bad last week. So.
Shout out to Margaret in the chat room. Yay. Thank you for being here. And for the 7 unnamed people that are here with us, well, that must be 4 because there's 3 of us, right? Yeah.
I guess one of us is schizophrenic, so that makes it 4.
Well, no, Jeff is here. Yay. Hi, Margaret. Hi. Thank you for being here. So this is going to be interesting, you guys. I mean, what are you guys thinking? What aspect of purpose are you guys thinking about?
Well, if you look at purpose, it could be so many different things, but it all kind of narrows down to each individual one's purpose. And we'll probably talk about what is it? How do we find it? And what do we do when we find it?
Well, Aage, and I love what you said, but what do you think the purpose is?
Well, you mentioned also that we will have different opinions of it, but when it comes down to it, we're using also different language to explain maybe possibly very close to the same thing. So it might sound like it is more of a difference than what it really is. So we may agree on more than what we think.
Right. So what do you think the purpose is?
Well, the purpose, I think, is something that first of all, I think we have to know who we are.
Okay.
And maybe also why. Because if we start asking about questions like that, our purpose also will come. Because we got to look within to find that. I don't think you'll find it on the surface.
Okay. All right, Tom.
I think it's good to maybe think for a moment, what's the lack of purpose? So sometimes that almost makes itself more known than purpose. So finding our own personal purpose, it's a quest. Some people find it early in life and some people find it later or in the middle. It doesn't seem like there's a baseline for everybody. It seems like maybe you find a purpose early in life that maybe changes later. So purpose is, I think it's fluid.
Or maybe we may not find it at all. Some people may not find it, but I think.
But what is it? What is it?
Purpose has got to be something meaningful that you have fun with, and when you love to do it, and you're doing it not necessarily for yourself, but also for others. Then you're on the right track to find that purpose, I think.
Okay. All right. Hey, a shout out to Carl Gruber, Jeff Greer. Yay. Thank you for being with us tonight. So based on what you guys have shared with us, the purpose is not something clear cut. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I think that happiness does not necessarily follow success, and happiness has got to be a big part of purpose. So I think that there's several things probably that we have to have. And first of all, we got to know who we are, and maybe also why do we do what we do. We have to have a reason for it. And I don't even know if a purpose always have to be feeling good. Let's look at Nikola Tesla. He had a miserable life personally all through his life, but he came here with a purpose to give the world free energy and technologies to bring it into the future. But personally, it didn't do him all that much good from looking at it from the outside. So I think the purpose then.
Well, how do you measure that? How do you measure that? I mean, I think purpose, well, I won't say it yet. How do you measure that if you're observing Nikolai Tesla from the outside? How are you measuring purpose? How can we measure another person's purpose?
It's hard to measure somebody else's purpose from their point of view. So that's going to be a difficult one.
Exactly. That's interesting. So is anybody going to ask me what I think the purpose is? Or
yes.
All
what
right.
do you think purpose is?
Funny you should ask.
Yeah.
I think our purpose is freedom, growth, and joy. I think our purpose is being joyous. But I think not as a result of it, our purpose actually is, right? If I decode those words, and this may be a little nebulous, our purpose is being aware of our vibrational expansion. Because vibrational expansion is going to happen whether we're aware of it or not. But if we're a little spark of creator expressing on the planet, when we are in alignment, when our thought is the same as the thought of the spark of the creator, that's when we have joy and bliss and well-being, and we just feel really good inside. So I think being aware of our vibrational expansion, that's when we're in alignment. I think that's our purpose.
I think you brought me to the next thing I was going to mention, and that is that there may be two different types of purposes. We have a physical purpose for things that we do, and then we have a spiritual purpose. I think our spiritual purpose is a lot deeper than what we can see or even think of in everyday life, because we come here maybe with a mission to do something for the purpose of spiritual growth in spiritual capacity, so we can go back to where home is, and then we don't necessarily have to come back to this ball of mud to learn more later.
So, and what I was saying before, Aage, to speak to your aspect of spirituality, that spark of the creator that we are, right? The part of us that's connected to God, to source energy, to all that is, that's the spiritual part of us. And that's exactly what I'm saying. But I think that the spiritual part of us naturally, when we're in alignment with it, then life manifests around us. That's the result, the manifestation. We came here to witness the manifestation of our vibration expanding.
That's well said.
What the heck does that mean? What, Nori? Wait, I want to do a shout out. So, Carl, how did I get on the spaceship, right? I don't know. They came and got me. Margaret Parker. Margaret said, doesn't purpose almost seem like a program and robotic? That's a great question. That's such a good question, because if you're trying to wrench in, if you're trying to bang in your purpose, right, because you're thinking, I've got to be doing, I've got to be growing. So if freedom, growth, and joy is our purpose, we constantly get fixated on growth. So then how do we measure growth? Well, through achievement or through doing something, or constantly doing something. And then we get out of the place where we're not even measuring our own growth. We're just caught up in the robotic doing. So I totally agree with that, Margaret. Absolutely. Aaron Patel, welcome. Thank you for being here with us. Yay, you guys. Yay. So
Yeah, I
Tom,
think
I'm
also,
sorry, Augie.
yeah, we are also got to maybe keep a little track of our physical purpose and growth and spiritual purpose and growth. There should be a balance in there somewhere, and a lot of times they get out of whack, whatever our whack is. I think that can really hurt us in our spiritual growth if our physical part get out of whack.
So and I think the out of whackness, I think the out of whackness is actually the emotion getting right, the emotion or the result of the emotion because we didn't pay attention to it, the emotion getting our attention that we're out of alignment with that connection that we came to be. That's who we really are. We become not who we really are when we cut ourselves off from source by anger, depression, jealousy, competition, judgment, right? Despair, chronic unhappiness. That's when we stop being who we came to be. And when we are not those things, we're in alignment, and then manifestation of our life just shows up. And it shows up because we have a desire to go do something, right? You had a desire, Augie, to come to the United States and fly planes, and not just fly planes, but like do aerobatics with them, right? So that was, you wouldn't have had that feeling, right? You wouldn't have had that passionate desire if you weren't in alignment with who you came to be. But you're not doing that now, right? And all of the things that I was passionate about that manifested in my life, I'm not necessarily doing those things now, but right now I'm following my passion and being in alignment by being here because I love this. I love the people. I love being with you guys, even though Tom talks so much before we get started, and then he's like radio silence while we're going.
Well, I was really concerned this week because I really want our sound to be good. And so I'm basically been checking while you guys have been talking, been checking the sound, make sure we're good. Very happy about that. And I agree with you about this thing about alignment, that when you're in alignment, part of that alignment is understanding your purpose. But I have been through a period of my life where I was like, what's my purpose? The purpose that I thought I had been living went away. And I'm like, it kind of leaves you kind of like you're falling without a parachute. You're like, okay, wait, when's this going to stop? I need to get stabilized. And so it's that point where you're searching for your purpose. What is my purpose? And I think all you can do is just keep asking and keep it's kind of like what you always talk about, Nori, about leaning in just one more little decision towards that end. And I think that helps. And that's been my journey, is that a lot of times we have no guidance other than the next step in front of us moving in that direction. And I think we ultimately can find alignment. I feel an alignment here. I really enjoy this. This is great. In spite of some of our technical issues, and some of our scheduling and people and everything else, and little conflicts that arise from time to time. And
what?
With all
Shocking.
kinds of
Shocking
stuff. Just little testy things,
What?
In spite of all of it, I feel in alignment with what we're doing. And so I understand my purpose much better than I did, say, probably about 10, 15 years ago. I was really struggling with trying to understand my purpose. I felt like I had lost my coupon for planet Earth. What is your point? Why are you here? So, and I know other people go through this. And so all I can say is, in my own experience, I ultimately found it by just embracing my crazy, if you will, embracing the side of me that wanted to kind of come out and be Tom. I was holding Tom back with my own.
I love that. That's it right there.
Yeah.
That's it right there.
It would be so much easier if we came here with an owner's manual. We just go to the manual and we look it up on page 2,648,413, and there it says right there what I should be doing today. Well, maybe not quite that way,
but how fulfilling would that be? I mean, that sounds boring.
But there is it looks like there is some predetermined agreements that we came here with that might involve the purpose, but a purpose like
wait, Augie, and I do mean to cut you.
At least he told the truth.
Right. I've heard you mention this before, and you and Nori have both spoken on this, and I'm a little bit more new to this, explain what those might be. Who made those agreements, and why did I make those agreements, and what are these agreements that we may have made?
Well, I was in the middle of one sentence. Let me finish that one first, and then I'll get to you.
Okay, all right.
So, that was that when we come here, we may have a purpose, but I don't think it's going to stay necessarily on that purpose. You, Nori, mentioned that I came here to become a commercial pilot and fly airplanes and so on. That was my purpose for that period of time in my life.
Right.
But that expanded on me later on. I got into mind development and studying of the universe and the mind. And that took me probably about 15 years also. Now,
Right.
I'm here in the media. That's a different purpose. So we can go through more than one purpose for different epochs of our life.
Right. Okay, I have a question. Did you study it?
Did I what?
Did you study it?
A study?
Yes.
Funny your
sounds.
accent.
Your accent.
Yeah. I must have whatever it
Did you
is.
study it? That was cute. That was cute. I'm sorry. We're goofy tonight, guys. So
Well, I agree. I totally agree that it can be fluid, that it can change from different, like you said, epochs in our life. Totally agree with that, because I've worn so many different hats in my life.
literally.
That, it's worn the hair off my head.
Yeah, and now you got an alien hat.
That's it. This is it. Okay, I'm embracing that moment, and I tell you, I'm having a blast with it. I've met some great people through this process. You guys have had a blast. So I know that I'm supposed to be doing this. I don't fully always understand some of the nuance that I really want to know, but then there would be no challenge. There would be no learning. There would be no growth. So like you said, we're not dropped in like drones, and your purpose will be to be, for this or that.
That's great.
We're not
Yeah, it
grades.
depends on you. Mhm. And I don't want to cheat Tom out of the explanation on what he asked here. It appears as we come here with some kind of predetermined things that we agreed to do. And the reason I'm saying that is, first of all, because of what I've seen, and for the second, there are people that has been put under hypnosis, and they are going back in time regressions to times before they were born. And they explain what they experienced when they were with these, what they call the guardians of the soul. There are incidents like that, and they explain that, yes, I agreed to do this, and then I came and did it. So if you want to know more about time regressions, talk to Nori. She is the hypnotist here.
Aw, thank you. Thank you. So I think our purpose, and Harry said it last week. I think if you cull it down, because we can peel the layers back, right, all night. But when you cull it down, I think it really is to be in the eternal moment of now, because that's where everything happens, right? That's when we're not being jealous, angry, vengeful, competitive, all those things that cut us off from being who we came to be. And I just want to do a shout out. Margaret wants to be hypnotized. Great. Nori Love Mail at gmail.com. I would love to talk with you. Carl Gruber, one of my favorite people on the planet, said one of the best things we learned in life coaching school was that when we get a little bit lost, that was exactly where we're supposed to be right now at this point in time in our life. And that's so great. That is so true. So the purpose is to be in each moment, right?
Well, yeah, and I think you're kind of almost saying it. The purpose is to find the purpose.
No, because then you're searching. Then you're searching.
Well, that's what he was talking about, that you're in that place where you're a little lost. So you are searching, and you're trying to get yourself into alignment. Obviously, you're on that journey. It doesn't happen overnight, in my experience. It seems like it's an ongoing process that we all go through.
Yeah. So you overthought that.
No,
in
but
my humble opinion.
I do like the one phrase that when you get in those moments, that you try to get to a place of nothing, where you get to a place of okay, take away all of the things that you think about the particular situation, and then try to remove some of the limitation thinking. You know what I mean? It's okay.
Exactly.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
That was good. That was good.
You got away with it.
What'd you say? You got away with it?
You got away with that one. That's good.
I wanna do a big shout out to
No, doctor.
Dustin. Victims of Retail is here. That's Chip. Hey, Chip. Lee Rowley is here. Yay. Margaret is still here. I missed somebody earlier. Aaron, I got Jeff. Victor is here. Victor said, what if we came here to experience contrast, leaving our perfection? Victor, if you're still here, that would be great if you could kind of clarify that for me, because I don't quite get that question. Do you guys?
Contrast can be so many things.
Yeah. So Philip Quinn is here. Yay! Heavy doses of gnosis. So cute.
Gnosis.
So,
That's, yeah.
Carl just added to his comment before that the being lost, right? So that brings you to the right here, right now, allows for a moment of pause to then move forward with new energy toward achieving your life purpose. So call it course correction, like a pilot adjusting his course during flight. So that's great. That's great.
You know,
And
that's the thing is
that's what I think emotion does.
we don't have a crystal ball. You know,
You're not supposed to.
But most of us don't have a working crystal ball, so we have to kind of navigate step by step. You know.
So your audio just got really low.
It did.
Did you notice that, Aage? Does anybody else notice that?
No.
Oh, your audio's. Hello,
No.
Thomas. Zon.
Everything sounds normal.
Okay. Tom sounds muted to me again, but you sound clear. So, Dustin, he put a smiley face. Cool. So, Carl was saying, call it course correction, like a pilot adjusting his course during flight, like GPS. I think that the contrast of our emotion is what signals us to course correct. That's when we get out of alignment with the spark of the creator that we're expressing on the planet. Like if we're a big sparkler and we have a knot in our gut and some of our sparkles get dim. And then if we don't pay attention to the knot in our gut and we are thinking about something else, we trip over something, our sparkles get dimmer. Then one whole side of us isn't sparkling anymore. So if we get mad and then start going into an old program in our mind, right, from childhood and start beating ourselves up, then less and less of our sparkles are sparkling. That's how we close ourselves off. So emotion and the emotional reactions are really a good thing. They're a gift. And the situations that make us feel uncomfortable are a gift to us. Thoughts?
Right. That would be what I would call catalyst. That a lot of times we don't grow in any area, much less understanding our purpose, or, you know, we don't grow in any area without some sort of challenge or test or catalyst to move us along. Otherwise we just stagnate. So I like to be in a place where I'm being challenged and I've got some good challenges, you know?
Yeah, we have been talking about what the purpose is and what some of the effects are, but let's talk a little bit about also how do we find it if we don't know?
Well, how do we find it if we don't know what it is?
Yeah, we don't know what it is all the time. So how do we find it?
You've got to ask questions. You got to put it out there. You got to turn your transmitter on, turn your cosmic transmitter on, and stand by to receive.
Exactly. Tom, is there any way that you can put all four of us up on the screen? Because Margaret said before, I didn't even know where Tom was. Because she could only see you. She could only.
Yeah, we're flipping back and forth on the audio. It's all good.
Not the audio, Tom. Video. Can you put all four of us up on the video? All three of us. Sorry.
No, I can't at the moment.
You can't. Okay.
I don't want to break anything. So.
Very good. I get that. So Victor said, we're where before the human something. We're where before the human. We were before, right? Voice text or something. We were before the human experiencing the bliss of nothingness and allness, that if we wanted to expand the human condition, that was a question.
And then Margaret's talking about why does everyone ask constantly, what is my purpose? I think that's a natural longing for us. We want to know what our purpose is. I think to lead a purposeless life is extremely it's heartbreaking. It's difficult. I think once you're in alignment, nothing can stop you. I've been around people that were focused and in alignment when I wasn't. And I was envious of that. I was like, wow, I love the fact that they are focused and they're driven and you're not stopping them. And so there is a good feeling that comes with knowing your purpose. And I think that's something that's a natural human desire to know our purpose. You know what? It may be a very simple purpose. The guy that runs the lighthouse, the guy that runs security, the woman that grows wonderful vegetables. It doesn't matter. Everybody's got a purpose. And maybe the purpose, what you're doing is your purpose. Maybe you're there, and maybe accepting that for the moment, and then maybe a new purpose will come to you.
Right. So if purpose is freedom, growth, and joy, when we're not in those things, right? And I don't know how many people, I mean, even like I don't know, maybe Sadhguru and, swamis and monks can be in that state, right, of growth and expansion and joy and freedom in every moment. But I lost the topic. Sorry.
Well, the monks and the monks and the gurus like that, they have isolated themselves from often though from many of the traps and the setbacks that we might get.
The traps and the setbacks are going to come whether you're in a monastery or not, I think, because we create them. They may look differently in a monastery. It may look like somebody, took your blanket, from the area of the floor you slept on, or whatever it is, right?
It's always a degree. Yeah, everybody's got their own, everybody's pain is the same, that we all have our own little pains and the challenges.
So I was trying to address Margaret's question of what if we don't have a purpose? Then why does everybody constantly ask what my purpose is? Okay, so you're asking what your purpose is when you're out of alignment from who you came to be. So usually we're asking what our purpose is when we're cut off from our connection to who we really are, when we're cut off to our connection to God. That's when we go, who am I? What am I? Why am I really here? I think I want to get off the planet. When's my train coming? When's my rocket coming to pick me up? That's because we're out of alignment.
Mm-hmm. There's a missing balance. Yes.
It is an out of balance nest. Yeah. Victor said, if you want to experience the human condition, just ask your ego. Well, isn't that the truth? It's always right there and always answers the loudest and most insistent. Okay, so I'm sorry, Victor didn't say that. Carl was addressing Victor. So that's true. That's true, right? But Carl, that's if you want to experience the human condition, right? But what if we want to experience us as the spark of creator expressing on the planet? If we want to experience us being in alignment with source energy, then I wouldn't ask my ego, right? The ego would be cutting me off from it. Does that make sense?
What I found?
Or giving you a new one.
Is I found that if you do an assessment, do a simple assessment about if you're trying to find your purpose, what can I do? What should I do? When should I do it? Those are the kind of questions. I mean, because I can do a lot of different things, but I know that I need to stay on point with the things I need to do. So it's about focus. It's about getting a narrow focus. And as you get that narrow focus about what you can do, first off, what can you do with the hands that you have, with the abilities that you have? Why do you have those abilities? Maybe those were put in you for a specific purpose. So that's a place to start. Do an assessment. What can I do? What am I able to do? And what do I want to do? Where do I want to go? And I think
so. I would start with that.
Things.
I would start with that. I would start with what do I want and why do I want it? And then I would go to why do I deserve it? And then all of those other things, what do I need to do? What do I need to do first? Then they don't feel so burdensome because they're all part of what you really want to do.
I think also once you have decided who you are and what you want to do like that, then also the ones that meditate and go within more so, they have, I think, a little better way to get confirmed and be a little more solid in their purpose.
Right, because
I don't think you can find out without it. I think you need to.
Yeah.
do you meditate, Tom?
Yes, absolutely.
You do?
Of course.
Wow, I didn't know that. See, you learn something new every day.
Do I need to file a meditation time card with you?
Yeah, no. I don't want responsibility for that. So I just want to do a shout out to Philip Quinn. Thank you for being here. Lady Falcon, thank you for being here. Thank you, everybody, for joining in the conversation. And we have 30 more minutes of conversation to go. So please pop in and say more in the chat. And I don't know if you've noticed, but we do have a super chat. Are you whispering super chat, Tom? We do have a super chat option available, and because we're listener supported, and if you want to show your support in that fashion, just click the super chat button and we'll go, yay! So thank you. All right. Margaret, let's see. Who else? Where's Harry? I'm missing Harry tonight. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So, Aage, what you were saying about meditation, what state of beingness is more conducive to being aligned and to being in connection with our true energy, with our true source of being, other than the state of meditation? I mean, unless we're doing something like a surgeon's doing, a 4-hour operation and time goes by like that for him because he's in the flow. So being in the flow of doing something that we love is kind of the same brain waves, a little bit different than the brain wave of meditation. So that is so powerful.
Absolutely. I think meditation is the doorway to higher consciousness. And in order to find our true purpose, at least get it confirmed, I think that's the avenue that we got to go.
So do you mean like you're conflicted, you don't know what your purpose is, you go into meditation and you go, oh, I think I'll be a meditation teacher. So that's when you decide what your purpose is?
Well, that's one way to do it, because when it comes to, you will know in meditation, you get answers to questions that you say at the beginning of the meditation sometimes. And sometimes you don't get the answers then, you get them 3 days later, but they come clear.
Right. And the other thing that I love about meditation, which speaks to my belief, oh my God, Lee, thank you. She did a $4.99.
Thank you very much.
That's our first one. Woohoo! How about
you know what? I think I totally agree with you, because the thing is, it's like, you know it when it's not, and you really know it when it is. It's like, how do you describe that? It's like, once you get the answer, you're like, boom, this is what I must do. I must do this. Oh yeah, this is it right here. And I think that's a feeling that we all understand. When you know what you know is what you ought to be doing. And when you don't, I've been there where you don't, and you're waiting for that answer. And so you know when it is, and you know when it is. And I think that's something we are never really trained to. We have to learn and listen to people like ourselves who tell us these little things. It's not something that you're going to get from, quote, a classical childhood in America. It's just not something that's passed. There's a few lucky souls out there that have gotten this information all their lives, but a lot of us have had to dig and fight and find. And the one thing I can tell you is, through personal experience, if it's not happening, you know it's not happening. If it is happening, it's happening.
And sometimes when you go into meditation and ask for something, let's say a solution to something that is going on in your life, and the answer comes, there may be times when you don't like the answer, and it could be uncomfortable to you. Let's say that you did something that somebody got hurt with, and you got the answer, well, yeah, I know I did that, but it was wrong, and I should go and apologize. And we really don't want to do it, but we should, because it's the right thing to do. Follow that intuition and that message that comes through, and you're going to be a lot happier later on. Even if there's something that you did there you should feel would be wrong, people are very forgiving when you come back and say, gee, I'm sorry.
Right. So what would be getting in the way? So I mean, if we were 3 years old and we recognized that we did something wrong, by tying a rubber band, I don't know if you can do that when you're 3, around the dog's tail, right? And we realized we did something wrong, and our natural instinct would be to make it better, right? To tell the puppy out, to hold the puppy, take the rubber band off, right? But as we grow up, what gets in our way? Our ego. Well, I don't know.
Carl.
I don't know if I was really
Wow.
wrong.
Thank you, Carl.
Carl did a $10 super chat. What a fun night this is. Tom, can you type in the chat room how to access super chat? Because somebody asked and I didn't want.
Yeah, in
Oh,
fact,
he's
it's a little
telling her.
dollar
That's
sign on the
awesome.
far right of the chat window. So yeah, and I in fact, in some of it may be at
So
the
cute.
bottom also. There's an emoji, and then there's a little chat, a big dollar, and you click on the dollars to show your support for Broadcast Team Alpha. So then you click that, and it'll take you through the process. So
Right.
thank you, Carl. That was wonderful. And Lee,
That's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you.
So great. Isn't that fun? So guys, I don't know if you were here a couple of weeks ago when I intended to not touch my hair anymore on camera, and
this is what happens.
So
This is what happens.
that's still in place, and I think if I touch my hair, I'm going to have to super chat the people in the chat room. Wow, how's that for a gauntlet to throw down? So what were we talking about?
Oh, it's about hearing your gut, trusting your gut,
Yeah.
and thank you, Margaret. Wow,
Margaret.
you're so generous. That is huge. That really helps.
Gosh, that's
spray our
so
costs.
cute.
Wonderful. Thank you.
So cute. So we were talking about the dog, right, with the rubber band on his tail, which this is a true story because the dog actually lost his tail. I didn't do it though. I probably thought about it when I was 3, but I didn't.
I think I did.
You did.
I'm pretty sure I did, and I also did it to my brother and my sisters.
Yeah. So if Aage, you were saying we know we need to go apologize. So that's our natural essence, right? That's our natural energy wanting to express and bring us back to being in connection. But what gets in the way? Our ego gets in the way. Well, I'm the one that always apologizes first. I don't even know if she was, she knows she was wrong. Maybe she should apologize to me. And right, you get into that whole thing in your head, and that's your ego, right, squeezing you out of alignment. So I totally agree with that. Absolutely.
Well, let me help me understand something here. You said it's ego, but is it also is the fact that maybe it's, I just want to maybe differentiate, and maybe I'm wrong here, but what if you're just overthinking it? Is that ego?
It depends on how you feel. It depends on.
Well, here's where I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
We have the emotional side, okay, that informs us to help inform us with decisions or events that are happening, like a sensory array that gives us, all those different sensory inputs. But then we also have the brain, which gives us logical, informational type informs us that way. So I think it's a balance between that and our quote common sense, if you will. Sometimes the decisions, we overcomplicate them by overthinking them. Is that ego?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's ego, but the brain is a processor. So yeah, if you get stuck in cogitation mode, it might not necessarily be ego. It might just be a loop that you, like some people who are super intelligent, like default to overthinking things. And that actually pulls them out of their joy, out of their purpose, because they're on
So it would be another factor besides ego.
Absolutely.
That could also affect us.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you say array what? Array antennas? What did you say?
Sensors.
Array sensors.
An array
of sensors.
Captain.
Aha.
You have, laughter, sorrow, whatever the different emotions, ranges of emotions, and 7 different kinds of love, and all those intangibles over here on that side. And you have the tangibles, the arithmetic tables that we learned in grade school, the science and data that comes in from reading and every other input that becomes knowledge of some kind.
Are you like reading my history? I mean, do you know about the multiplication beanstalk?
No, but I failed miserably in 8th grade with multiplication tables.
Yeah.
Math was my enemy as a child.
Yeah.
Hey, Justin. Thank you,
Get out
Justin.
of here,
Thank you, Justin. No,
Dustin.
that's awesome.
Yay.
Every
So-
little bit helps.
I feared the multiplication beanstalk. Aw, Dustin, thank you. That's
Double
so
Dustin.
nice.
We got a double Dustin
Oh
tonight.
my goodness, a double. Oh, I almost said it. I almost said double D's.
Well, we didn't have the multiplication beanstalk. I don't even know what that is, but I had to take algebra probably in my life just to succeed in what I know how to in my career. I wound up having to take algebra about 3 times.
I like it.
Good, yeah.
Mhm.
So sometimes, you know, I don't know what was blocking me, put me under the light, the analysis and find out, but I
Yeah,
don't know what was.
we can
blocking me.
Well, a lot of
hypnotize
times,
you.
you know, learning has to do with interest too. If you had no interest for it, then it's hard to learn.
Right.
You know,
Until
it's interesting. I learned Ohm's law, which was basic, and I couldn't get through. If I didn't have an application for it, you're absolutely right, Augie. I couldn't get there.
Yeah.
Right, until somebody could make it interesting for you. Right.
Right.
So, just a shout out to Carl. Carl is an amazing life coach. He's an author. He's a marathon record holder. I don't know. I can't remember how many marathons he ran in a year. Like almost every day. It was crazy. Carl said, "Overthinking is ego." Oh, so he's being very clear about
Yeah.
that. As it always seeks to make things complex and chaotic. Spirit is simple, one pure truth and love, never overthought or complex. That's great. That was great.
We should have
And
Carl
a lot
on
of
sometime.
times, too,
We should have Carl on.
but
He's been
when
good.
we overthink things too, that's just because a lot of times maybe we don't like the first answer, so we want a second opinion, and then we start working on that second opinion. If we don't like that, we go on to the third one, and by the time we got to the third opinion, then we got them all screwed up and mixed up, so we don't get anywhere with it.
Exactly.
You know, there used to be a public service announcement that said the mind is a terrible thing to waste. I had a good friend of mine. He revised it. He said, the mind is a terrible thing.
Well, it depends on how you use it, right?
Right, exactly. That was humor. Yeah, that was humor.
So Jeff Greer, I touched my bangs. Did you guys see it? Oh, I did it. Okay, let me breathe.
We'll put that on your hard card. It goes on the permanent record.
Okay. Jeff said there's no place like Ohm. That's so funny.
Ba-doom-ba.
That's so funny. But right? There was something. Oh, Augie, so you were talking about meditation before. I can't believe. Like, so there's magical things going on with the energy and the downloads in the universe right now. So everybody buckle your seat for May 3rd. But sometimes I was listening.
Wait. Now, wait a minute. You just can't drop these bombshells. Now, what is happening May 3rd?
Okay, just wait and I'll roll it out.
Okay. All right.
Okay. I was listening to this amazing guy talk about, he calls them, I don't know if he called them energy accelerations. It was something like that. But people who are to get accelerated information and are very, very sensitive to it, you will feel it. I hope I circle back to my original intention for this conversation. So this guy, Jason Estes, I'm going to give him a plug because he's amazing. Maybe he'll come on the show with us. He said, and he's like a really, experienced presenter and, thought leader. And he said that during one of those times, he couldn't even remember how many days were in the year. So, like I said, I was hoping that I would come back to the original intention for me telling you all this.
Well, we were talking about ego and how that can affect overthinking, those kinds of things.
Yeah, no, I was going somewhere else. Okay. But I do want to go back to what you were saying, Augie, when you said that in meditation, if you have a question,
Ask the question.
What is a terrible person?
No, I had a question
No.
here. Margaret asked, could a terrible person have a good purpose? So then, what's a terrible person though? That's a matter of opinion again.
A terrible person could have a purpose, right?
Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
their purpose may be to find piece, we can't judge that. Just like in nursing, I had to grow to understand that sometimes healing meant dying. So just like with a terrible person who, right, we had a man on the show a couple of weeks ago who is a
Well, you
wait a minute.
person.
Do you remember who he is? He's the psychologist, and he works with the criminally insane. So those people would be considered terrible, but they do have a purpose. Their spirit has a purpose. They came here, they took on this body to, in my humble estimation, to be aware of their vibration expanding. So
Well,
even though we see them as insane and terrible, they're actually vibrationally expanding in their own way.
and a hitman has a purpose. They're terrible people, but they have a purpose. So sometimes the purpose may be negative, but that doesn't mean it's never nonetheless a purpose. And you can flow negative, but it's not
So
really.
And
here's
then Margaret also asked, is murdering and raping a purpose? Well, think of it this way. First of all, nothing dies anyway.
well, that
And
softens it.
yeah, and there is learning in it, whatever it is. Here among us, it looks like a bad thing for a lot of things, but spiritually, it may be just another experience.
Right.
That one is hard to wrap our heads around, but it kind of looks that way from the other side.
Okay, so the book, right, The Purpose Driven Life, wasn't that born out of the author having a burglar come in? I mean, that was going to hurt him or something, and he actually talked the bad guy who's going to do a bad thing out of doing it by just connecting soul to soul with him. That's how that book came about. So for me, because thinking about murder, thinking about things like that, pull me out of alignment. So it's better for my energy not to judge, because it takes me out of alignment, and alignment is where I am in freedom and joy and growth. So what I was going to say before we derailed again was, Augie, you said that when you ask a question, when you have a question and you go into meditation, you get the answer. And this is true with hypnosis, because I did a group hypnosis recently, and the thing I love about hypnosis, and this is consistent across the board, is that no matter what intention you go in with, and no matter what question you go in with, your subconscious mind is going to give you the answer to what you're really, really asking. Like, you may ask, what is in the way, of me taking my next step into my coaching career? This really happened. And the person was thinking, I'm sabotaging myself, or I don't want to be visible, all those things, I'm not worthy. So that's where we entered hypnosis. And it turned out that, bam, there was her ex-husband in the middle of the hypnosis, and she healed whatever that was. And then afterwards, she said, I cannot believe that after all these years, he was still in here. He was still in here. And even though she had the intention of being a coach and moving, very nuts and bolts things out of the way, he was still in there. So the subconscious mind will always bring you the answer, and you can tap into it when you are in the state of meditation, when you are in those brain waves.
Yeah, hypnosis opens up the channel into the subconscious mind. You get a two-way flow of information going in and out, and it answers questions.
So Margaret liked your answer before about murdering and raping. Todd Father, I love this. Todd Father 75 is here. Love that name. Thank you for being here. The purpose is infinite awareness. If your purpose is negative, then you will, I guess, be
Negative, yeah.
But I totally agree with him, because what I'm saying I'm trying to say it I'm saying it with words that are awkward, because I'm really wanting to get to the core of what I really feel, and I want to express that so everybody can get it. But that's That's what I'm trying to say, right? When we are in the moment of eternal now, right? When we are in the moment of eternal now, then we don't desire for anything. We just follow our heart. Like, yeah, I want to go do this. Yeah, I'm going to go do that. Yeah, no, I don't want to do that. I'm going to go do this. And one day flows into the next day, and the next day flows into a month and a decade and your life. And then you go non-physical and you continue to expand. It
Yep.
never stops, like Aage
Well,
said.
I think too, like to what Augie was saying and what Todd was saying too, that this idea that we assign a good and a bad to positive and negative, but the universe is just positive and negative, and it doesn't assign a vote either way. You can go either way, and things can happen either way. The universe allows it to happen that way. There's like a freedom for it to happen that way, and it's a lot of it is wrapping our minds around that
Right.
neutrality of how it or the universe.
It is neutral. It is neutral, but I like to believe, and I do believe that it's it's always saying yes to us because God, source, whatever the universe loves us so much because we are so lovable. It's always saying yes to us. So it doesn't know good or bad, right or wrong. So the universe sees Tom going, damn it, I didn't want this to happen. And the universe goes, oh, look, there's Tom, offering a huge, passionate expression. Yes, Tom, more of that. Right? When we talk about lack, like, oh, we really need it, we really need this, the universe goes, oh, there's Nori talking about need, right? And the universe goes, yes, you can have more of that. So then I end up needing more of what I said I really don't have. So I love that. I love that. And I know I'm like dominating the conversation. So you should have called protocol, close the barn door. So don't blame me.
Let the lady speak. Let the lady speak.
Oh my goodness.
No, I didn't feel it close the door. I think I was all with you.
That's good. That's good.
That's good. We don't want to interrupt it because a lot of it's good stuff. So we're just.
And it's so interesting because earlier in the show, I noticed my eyes they get this certain little glimmer, and I always know that something's going to happen, like something's going to come through when that happens. And
kind of like a spidey sense.
It's like a spidey sense, right? But with a little flame in it. Yeah. And then this happens, like information keeps going and going, so that you guys need to, call for protocol, shut the barn door. Yeah.
Roger that. We're going to cut your mic.
All right. So
and then the other thing that I wanted to talk just a little bit about, that once we figure out what our purpose is, then what do we do? See, well, we got to do something, because it's just like knowledge is power, right? No, it isn't. It's what you do with that knowledge that is power. So now, if we know what our purpose is, what do? We go within and ask, where do we go from here? And we'll get ideas, we'll get passions, good feelings about something, and then pursue those good feelings and those passions and the ideas that we get. My favorite place to get those ideas is in the shower. I don't know why the shower, because we probably got the water and we're grounded to the earth, possibly. I don't know.
Mhm.
I get brilliant ideas, and I have this thing. This is a little recording device, and I have it with me everywhere I go. So whenever I have a good idea, I just talk it in here, so I
Oh
don't.
my God. So what kind of a show would it be if we
Play that. Yeah.
wound that to the very beginning? I know it's so easy for me to say, and listen to all of the things that Aage spoke into that. That would be hysterical. Can we do that, Aage?
He's becoming part of the AI machine there with this adaptive device that's enhancing his memory. It's actually allowing you to have more memory storage.
Oh, that's so funny. That's so funny. So Victor said, what about quantum realignment hypnosis? What about it?
Never heard of it.
Yeah. It does exist, but you need to be somebody who's gifted to help facilitate that, unless you are gifted yourself to take yourself there. Carl said the old Chinese saying, to know and not do is to not know. So
Hmm.
that's perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah, I think it's important if you're searching for your purpose, you have to kind of do an assessment. I think it's part of all this. Just kind of writing things down, making lists sometimes is helpful. And
Yeah.
Every time you say assessment, I go into nurse mode. So I'm like, wait, well, what? Yeah, no, I think that's really good because it all begins with asking. It all begins with us asking a question, whether we're looking at our purpose, whether we're looking at alignment, whether we're looking at where we should go next, right? What
one of
am
the
I
reasons I say that
feeling?
too is because it seems like there is I call it the panel of judges. It's kind of like when they're interrogating somebody in one of those or they're interrogating a suspect. And we've seen this in countless dramas and movies and television where they're in a really little austere room with a table and a chair, and they're sitting there, and you know that there are people behind the glass. And I kind of use this analogy that it seems like we put people behind the glass that we can't quite see them, but we feel like they're there. And I think I try to use the analogy of moving around, opening the door, and looking behind the glass. And oftentimes there's nobody there. It's stuff that it's people like these judges we put back there of our own making. They
Right.
limit us.
Yeah.
Right. Limited thinking. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they're really born. I mean, technically, they're born out of old tapes running
Right.
in our subconscious mind.
Sure.
Absolutely. That's really good. That was a good
Mhm.
analogy. Yeah. So we've got 3 minutes to say thank you. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Dustin, for the super chat. Thank you, Lee, for the super chat. Thank you, Margaret, for the super chat. Thank you, Carl, for the super chat. Just what a fun night this has been. You guys have any closing comments? I'm going to shut the barn door.
Margaret just dropped another good question in, so we'll hit that real quick. She says, if we come here with a purpose, does that mean we don't actually have free will? Me personally, I believe that the universe, that just what little I know, free will is one of the hugest things about our progression as entities. That I believe that it's a cosmic law that we shouldn't violate the free will of others. And so I think if you're in alignment, I don't think you're going to see it as a violation of free will. You're going to be so into it. It's like, I want to be here. This is what I want to be doing. So I don't think that the universe requires us to be in a place where our free will is being violated. I think we're always being offered a moment to make a choice. Am I going to move this way, or am I going to hold back? Am I going to move this way, or am I going to hold back? So I think that it's the free will is always there and it's intact, and it's just how much we're willing to give up. We give up
We
our
always,
free will to.
we always will have free will.
Shut the barn door.
We actually give
We have 1 minute.
free will to things that we shouldn't. So
Right. So we can use our free will for freedom.
sure.
Yeah, but the question is also, is it physical free will or spiritual free will? Because remember, here we're in a mind-created holographic universe, and the free will is always present, but it was decided outside of the physical and brought into the physical. So the free will is here, but it's not necessarily what we decide right here for the major things. It comes with us into this existence based on free will.
I'm going to have to watch the replay because, yeah. I mean, talk about dropping a bomb at 1 minute to closing.
Thank you,
So,
Margaret.
Can you expand on that a little bit, Aage, like the Reader's Digest version?
Okay, the free will is always here. But even quantum physics says that in the micro world, the large world we see here, there is no randomness. Randomness equates to free will because we can choose. There is no choice. That's quantum mechanics. Now, spiritually, there is free will, there is choice, and anything that we want to do, we can decide out there and bring with us in here. So it is still free will, but it originated outside of the physical, both according to me and quantum mechanics. So I'm going to stick with that.
Okay.
I don't have enough evidence to argue with you. I like it. It makes sense, Aage.
Yeah.
You know?
Now that don't mean that what you're going to have for breakfast, or if you're going to drop your spoon tomorrow morning when you eat breakfast, is decided out there and brought in here. No, I think the smaller things, that is just things that we do. But the major things, the free will is brought with us when we come here.
That's a core part of who we are, is our free will.
Yeah.
And when that's taken from us by, you know, governments on this planet, all over the planet, where they're taking away the free will of people.
Yeah.
And it's a sad state of affairs. I really want to see us evolve up to where we respect the free will of others. There's a lot of stuff that clouds it, though. We got religious stuff, we got politics, we got all kinds of stuff that clouds the free will of other people. I feel very grateful for where I am living in this country. We seem to have a little bit more of it.
Barn door protocol.
Yeah.
I have to acknowledge what Dustin said, because it's like so perfect. We choose how we get to our purpose. That's exactly it.
Yes.
That's exactly it.
He's exactly right. We chose it.
Absolutely. So Victor said, love this guy. Margaret said, so I used free will before this life. That is for another show.
Well, I think that's what Augie's saying.
It's 2 minutes after 9. And we need to say farewell for now.
Okay.
And thank you very much, folks. I had fun, and I hope you did too.
I had fun. Thank you, everybody. You guys are so freaking awesome. This was so much fun. Tom, want to take us out?
Absolutely. So real quick, come out to the website, come out to our Facebook groups, come out and check out our we got a couple of different groups. Nori just started a new one called Awakened Oneness. So come and check that out. That deals more with a lot of these spiritual concepts and ascension, things of that nature, the awakening, what's going on with people. If you need some information on those topics, Nori's, she's in there ready to, help and put some, give answers. So is Aage. We've also got our main BTA group, so check that out. So give us some likes, and thank you again to those of you that gave us super chats tonight. We really appreciate that. That helps offset expenses and whatnot. And
one last thing also, if you like what you heard here, send it out to your groups everywhere. Spread it around so other people need to hear it too.
Sharing is caring. Yes. All right, folks, I'm going to push the button. Thank you again, all the folks in the chat room. Great questions. You guys are asking some great stuff, and we feel a real camaraderie with you guys. So until next week, I'm going to push the button.
Push the
See you
button.
then.
Push the button. Hang on here. Where's the button? There it is.